to A Pinch of Basile. I am your host. If you're joining us on Facebook, thank you so much. I am your lovely co-host, and I like to really stress lovely. Lovely co-host Basile, but I'm not only the host, but I'm the co-host. Yeah.
What happened to you today? What in the world is going on?
I don't know. Just today, I got to be honest with you. The key word, if there were a duck coming down here with a phrase that pays, it'd be Skype. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, I am your lovely host and my lovely co-host. Right next to me on the other side of the country is Janice Hermson. Janice, how are you?
I am doing much better than you are.
Yeah, today was kind of a wacky day. I've been involved in 5 different projects, 2 of which have been maintained just about all of my time today. But just to let people know, don't forget you can call in right now at 844-790-8255. Besides our wonderful live stream on Facebook, you can listen on the americamatters.us and on the TuneIn app right from your phone or tablet. Just search America Matters. You don't have any excuses for not to. Listener and or watch. As I said, I'm here with Janice and, of course, our wonderful engineer who asked me the most craziest questions. Should I turn the camera on you? That'd be nice. Yeah,
you're not telling the whole story.
Oh, he's not going to let you get away with it, Basile. Come on, you know you have to tell it all.
I said, greetings, Basile. Basile. We count French, and he goes, oui, oui, and I go, I am not turning the camera on if you're going oui, oui.
You see the sophomoric type of humor that I have to deal with here on this show, folks. I'm on a third level tier of humor, and then there's the material for the groundlings, if you will, thanks to...
Oh, my goodness gracious. Now the ego comes out as well. Ay, ay, ay. What are we going to do with you?
I'm just kidding.
I know.
Anyway. So am I. You can also listen, you guys can find me up here, Facebook Live. You can find us right now on Basile Fans on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're here every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. New York City time, which means Eastern Standard Daylight Time, because we're in daylight savings right now. And we have amazing guests and topics, as we always do. And this week is no different. I have the Supreme President of the AHEPA. That is the #1 guy. George Loucas will be here. He's a prominent trial attorney who is from Cleveland, Ohio. Also, he's a pharmacist. Who knew? And
I thought that was an interesting combination.
Yeah, and you know what?
Really a good one, though.
Oh, it was fantastic because I got a chance to talk to my wife, Kula, and we went out to dinner with him. And she goes, oh, my God, Baze. He and his wife, Sandra, are the sweetest, most lovable people and so humble. And that's what I love about this cat. So powerful, yet so humble. And he actually, not to brag, because he knows pharmaceutical law really well. He's one of the best in the country. And guess who he's representing? He's representing Prince because of the overdose that was involved that killed him, and he's representing Prince. And I'm like, wow, what a great client to have. I mean, hopefully he's going to pay the bills, but it's a bad joke.
Yeah, it is a bad joke.
But nonetheless, but listen, we have him, and listen, go ahead and type your questions to him. For all the AHEPA membership that's watching right now, type in your questions, whatever you may have. We're going to see each other. Of course, the wonderful National Grand Supreme Convention that will be in Chicago, Illinois. Yours truly will be hosting the event on the 5th of July. I will be there in Chicago, Illinois. And you can go ahead and type your questions. Janice, what's the text number
the
for us?
text number is 775-237-2266. But I have to tell you, you're not going to get away with today not talking about your backdrop, because Ted says, when I see that backdrop weekly, I feel like I'm home. If home was the back of a moving truck and I had on cement shoes heading to my demise. How about that?
The only thing I could say to Ted is, et tu, Brute, when you stick the knife in here, cut like this and cut it across, you have no idea what I've been involved in. I've been involved in such writing. I've been coming up with jokes. I've been coming up with real stuff that I have to do. That, long story short, I've been crazy busy. So, yeah, thank you very much. We'll get those cement shoes for you, Ted. Don't worry about it. We're going to cover you up. Make sure the fish take care of you real good. You're going to look good in cement shoes. Absolutely. Listen, by the way, we got other guests coming on as well. We got Katarina Stefanidis, Harry Basile, producer, Pamela Pappas, Dean Karnazes, a guy who runs all over the place. Pamela Pappas, we got to get her on soon just because she climbed Mount Everest and all the news that's going on. Gary Grossman and Ed Fuller, authors of The Red Hotel. And listen, we're on, like I said, every Tuesday. Make sure you listen to us from New York City time, 6 to 7. And I got a couple of dates real quick to give you as well, folks. June 7th, I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona for the District AHEPA Convention, entertaining there. June 8th, I'll be at the AHEPA District Convention in Portland, Oregon. Then I'm going to be at Wonderful Laugh Factory at the Tropicana in Las Vegas. That's June 10th through the 16th. Then the 18th through the 23rd. Guess where I'm going, Janice?
Oh, boy. You're coming to Reno.
I'm coming to Reno, baby. I will be in Reno at the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Silver Legacy Casino at the Laugh Factory right inside there. Come and catch a show. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then, let me see, June 24th or the 30th, I'll be at the Comedy Cabana in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh,
July
going all the
5th,
way back across, huh?
Yeah, I'm going back and forth. July 5th, I'll be at the Supreme Convention in Chicago, Illinois, the 12th through the 13th at Kazi's Comedy Club in Newport News, Virginia. But listen, folks, so much to talk about. We're going to get to a lot of stuff. Janice and I have stuff put together. You're going to love this. And, of course, we got to make sure Craig is happy, so he's got to eat something real quick, because, some God knows. But anyway, we're going to do that little sponsor thing. That's where people pay the bills to allow us to come on to visit you. So stick around and listen to our sponsors. And everything is better when you put a pinch of basil on it. We'll be right back.
Here on America Matters.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back. You're listening to Basil all around the world. You can go to the TuneIn app, radio app, and that's find America Matters, or listen live every week at americamatters.us. If you miss any part of this show, by the way, you can find them under podcasts under the site A Pinch of Basile, or on the Facebook on Basile Fans page, and it's Basile Fans, BASILEFANS. That's for Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook. And I guess we have to talk a little bit about some of the politics that are going on, Janice. What do you say?
Oh, you want me to talk about those politics?
Yeah, actually I do. Because, first of all, I love milkshakes, and I think it's a waste of a milkshake. There is nothing better than a vanilla Frosty.
Oh, I like chocolate better.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my husband loves vanilla.
As a past employee of Wendy's, there is no such thing as a vanilla Frosty.
Yeah, there is.
Not anymore. Well, there is now, but there was never. It was never designed to be vanilla. It was always a chocolate Frosty. Dave Thomas refused when he was alive to put vanilla in the store, in the restaurants.
Well, I wonder what Nigel Farage was doused with.
Yeah, evidently. Do they have Wendy's in England?
I don't know.
Wendy's in the
I
UK?
don't know. Do you know, Craig, if they have a Wendy's in England? He's going to check it out for us. He'll find out. But
yeah,
I'm sure you know Nigel Farage, Brexit fame. He was doused with a milkshake, and I guess that guy got arrested. And then a few days later, he was doing some more traveling on his bus, and he ended up sitting in his bus for a while because there were some folks outside that had the same milkshakes. But do you remember Gallagher, that comic that did the Sledge-O-Matic bit? Maybe they just all wanted to be like him. Right?
Yeah, you know what? Perhaps.
I think that's
did anyone even ask Nigel if he was lactose intolerant? Because that could kill a man. That could truly kill a man.
Well, double you over for a while.
Folks, just 2 minutes in my shoes. That's all I ask of you. 2 minutes. Or Ted with his broken leg. one shoe. Okay.
There you go.
No, the Sledge-O-Matic, I used to remember going to comedy clubs when Gallagher would tour, and I'd sit there laughing because it was hysterical because they hated when he was there because it would destroy the carpeting, the walls, everything. It was just crazy. But yeah, that was pretty silly. And yeah, I think, listen, there's people starving around the world. Why don't you go ahead and give them the milkshake?
I know. I do. I think that's silly. I
do too.
Come on. There's better ways to show your protest. I don't have a problem with anybody protesting or not liking the dude, but it's just dumb.
Yeah,
it's just dumb.
Listen, I agree.
It's childish. That's what I say.
Listen, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I really do. I really do. But
oh well,
anyway,
on a serious note, did you hear about our governor and what he did?
You know what? I was
surprised.
But tell us about this story. I actually found it very interesting.
Governor Sisolak is a Democrat, and surprisingly, he vetoed the bill that would have had Nevada joining the group that is wanting to have the national vote count as opposed to the Electoral College. And he said that the bill would diminish the state's political power. And I tend to agree with that. I think that a small state like ours we only have a little bitty voice, and we need to be heard. And I know Craig's got something to say.
I'm going to jump in on this really quick because all it will take is enough states that their electoral votes will total over 270. So Nevada may not have a choice in it really.
Right,
in the long run,
I
if
think
more
that
states.
It's good that he honored
exactly.
Nevada's voice and not a party. That's what I'm looking at, because the Democrats were totally upset with him. Many, I won't say all, but many were upset with him because of that. And I just think that you have to look at, this is when it should be nonpartisan. You should look at the overall view of your state, and I think that's what he did, and I'll give him credit for that.
Well, I think that the one thing that a lot of people don't know is when the Founding Fathers wound up creating our actual government, when they refer to representatives, may it be a governor, may it be a congressman and or a senator, that you have to put your actual personal point of view to the side, and your duty is basically to listen to the people and vote the way the people of your state voted.
Sure.
That was the intention of the actual Constitution as we know it. Now, a lot of people don't understand, and you try to explain it to them, and they look at you like you got pork chops tied to your face, and they're just like kind of tilting their heads like that, like the RCA was a dog that would look at the actual speaker in a tilted manner. The whole issue, folks, of the actual thing that bothers me that every state needs to have a voice. And to win that voice from that state, you got to win that state in popular vote. Simple. If they say, yeah, but we won the popular vote.
Unless the electorates decide to, some of the states, they can go against what that vote was. So, and I always thought that was interesting.
And Nevada is one of those states.
I thought it was. I couldn't remember.
And that
surprised me when I first learned about that.
And that needs to be actually rejected, because it was the other way, they'd be rejecting it. And I think it needs to be as the state, each state needs to follow the will of the people, not the will of the elector and his personal opinion, but the will of the people.
Well, the will of the people gave that option in our state.
Right, exactly.
At some point. Which I think, and I really don't think they probably truly understood what that meant, to be quite honest with you. Ignorance is perhaps the greatest thing we have going for us, is not too many people truly understand the Electoral College and what it means. When I told some friends about the Electoral College, and these were kids, and I shouldn't say to my daughter's friends, they don't teach this stuff in high school. They really don't.
No.
And I said, you know about the Electoral College? And they look at me and goes, well, do they have a football team? Not so much. Not the brightest kids in the world. But the thing is, what needs to be said is these people really, truly need to understand politics. You want to play in the game, understand what it's about. Because if you go with popular vote, guess what, folks? California, Texas, Florida, New York, they're the ones going to be running the country. That's 4 of the 50 states. Do you really think that's fair? You think about that. Anyway, There's some other news. Anything else going on that we need to know about?
Basil on politics. There you go. There's your little summation of the Electoral College.
Well, you know what? Because the thing is, people sometimes ignorant is bliss. You know that.
I do. You know, and I was just going to relate very briefly. When I graduated from high school a very long time ago, I really did believe that the Electoral College should go away. I really and truly did. And I did understand a little bit about it, but not enough. And now that I am older and wiser, I do agree with, you know, and I learned this quite a while ago.
Do you know why it was involved? It became about in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
Well, because back in Basil's area of the woods, because that's all the states there were at the time, is there was only one place.
Call it as Basil land.
Right. Yes, Basil land. There was only one place in your state you could vote, and that was your state capital. So for every person to visit their state capital and vote
was tough.
They couldn't do. So that's why the Electoral College. So your district, you voted in your district, then that one person took that vote. But that's because you couldn't afford to take 2 days off to travel there and back to vote. Well, that's not the case anymore with the electronic. And in reality, a lot of people, like the 3 million people that voted for Hillary, didn't have their voice heard in this last election.
But it's happened before, and I don't think it happens often enough.
It happened the past 2 elections in a row.
Well, maybe that's significant of what's going on in the country. And maybe our country needs to get together.
But the thing is, you actually need to go ahead. I mean, it really made an importance about the smaller states. Even though the Electoral College vote may have been 3 or 4 or even 5 people, made the difference. Even when you're talking about Bush 2 running against Lieberman and the other guy, who was he running against? Oh gosh,
don't know which year Vice
President Clinton's vice president. I'm having a brain fart.
Cheney? No,
that was Bush.
Gore, Al Gore.
Gore. VP Gore.
Yes, the man who created the internet.
Yes, that's what I should have said. You know, everyone would have known that. But anyway, listen, we can go on with this, and you know, but thank you for sticking to your guns as to what the law and the will of the people. You know,
he did a good
job in Nevada.
He did a good job,
to say the least.
Yeah.
Anything else we got going on that we need to know?
Oh, you know, do you believe in UFOs, my friend?
Yes.
You do? Have you ever seen one?
I want to say I have, but I think people will look at me differently.
Well, he should say he believed in one, because I know he was abducted because I was there at the same time.
The two of you, huh?
Was that you in that mask? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man, I remember you.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, what about the UFOs? Tell me.
Well, the U.S. is now finally willing to admit, or allow their pilots to admit, that they have been seeing some strange things. There's an article in the Huffington Post that talks about this. The Navy said in April that it's updating and formalizing the process by which pilots can report unidentified or unauthorized flying objects. So, and it doesn't believe that aliens has intruded into U.S. airspace, but that it had received a number of reports of unauthorized and unidentified aircraft. So, you know, they just don't want to admit it.
Well, you know, the thing is, when Blue Book came out, and those were all the sightings back in the 50s, it kind of opened the eyes, but it's always been the thing. How ignorant would we have to think that there's, in this mass of universe that we have, that we're the only ones who are, you know, actual beings out there.
Right.
But listen, folks, we got to do that sponsor thing. We're going to be right back with our wonderful guest, George Loucas.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back to a Pinch of Basile. Don't forget, I am streaming this on Facebook. I got my viewers over here actually watching me. I can't hear anything. I can only watch their little blips. We're on Facebook. You can also listen on the TuneIn app or on any phone or device. You have the app. Just search America Matters. And if you're on a computer, go to americamatters.us. If you want to comment, go to my Basile fans page on Facebook. That's BASILE-FANS. You can also go ahead and call in at 844-790-8255, or you can text in your questions. Again, Marvelous Janice, my co-host, what is that text number?
That number is 775-237-2266. So text us now.
Give us a text. You're going to love our guest. I really got a chance to meet George Loucas, who happens to be the Supreme President of the National Order of AHEPA, which is the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association. I've known him for years because he's a Cleveland guy like I am, and what I loved about him is his humbleness. He's one of the most humble cats you'll ever meet. And when I met him and his lovely wife, we were at a wedding of Basil Mercedes, who we had on as our guest a few weeks ago, and met him. And my wife fell in love with you guys, as did I, and we really got a chance to not only break some bread and some dishes, I'm sure, but we got a chance to get together. And George, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Basil. It's wonderful to be with you.
Oh, we're so happy.
But it's wonderful. Good evening.
Good evening, man. Thanks for coming. You've been a busy boy because you and I have a close relationship. Sometimes I try to text you, and you're, some of the stuff that you're like, I can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of a deposition. I can't talk right now. I'm in court. And a lot of people need to know a little bit of some of the things that you've done. First of all, I'm going to read this because I couldn't even put all this down on one thing to make it sound as good as what it is. George, you're an actual certified pharmacist.
Yes, that's true.
And you went to board certified. You went to West Virginia.
Yeah, it's called registered pharmacist is what it's called.
Oh, wow. And then you decided counting pills just was too damn boring. I'm going to get my JD, my Juris Doctorate from John Marshall.
That's correct.
God.
I was bored.
We got to get you a hobby, son. That's all I'm saying.
Amen to that.
The funny thing is, because I know the Judge Manos chapter that you belong to. And did you work for Judge Manos?
I did not. I was too afraid.
I
did, but I did not. And it's funny because he's the one who brought me to Cleveland. And I told him, I said, I feel bad that I never, clerked for you. But quite frankly, I never thought I was good enough. And he had a ball with that one.
Well, and the thing is, because he had Bob Seropoulos, who my cousin Melissa married, and he clerked for him. But I was with a friend of my uncle's and a good friend of mine too, Gus Corpus, who's an attorney. I don't know if you know Gus or not. And I was in the federal building, and I was a court runner at that time. And I'll never forget, Gus Corpus looked at me and he says, "Hey, Judge Manos is on the bench. Let's go and see him." We said, "Okay." And he is the most, folks, just to give you an idea how intimidating this man looked. He had these he was a bald-headed man, shaved all of his hair off completely. Slightly older, with these huge black Mr. Magoo glasses, okay?
Or with a deep resonating voice. Excuse me.
Scared the hell out of everyone. And there was a trial was going on, and one of the attorneys had the nerve. This is a federal court judge, to tell him that, well, Your Honor, this is unconstitutional as to what you're putting a kibosh on. And he takes the book. Janice, it scared the hell out of me. And I was sitting against the back wall in the back, throws the book on the bench, makes the most thunderous storm, and he jumps up with his hands like this, and with this huge black robe that he was wearing, goes, "I am the Constitution." I crapped my pants from back there.
Yep. That's the judge.
That's the judge.
Wow.
For sure. But not only have you then, you have a wonderful family, 2 wonderful children as well. Tell Sandra I say hello, by the way. But please tell us about the wonderful year you've had as being the Supreme President of the AHEPA.
I would love to. I'll tell you, they told me to enjoy the journey, the ride. and there's nothing like it to which I can compare. It's being the spokesperson for AHEPA, the largest Greek American organization worldwide, the largest community service and volunteer organization, not just Greeks, but Greeks and non-Greeks, Hellenes and Philhellenes. Mm-hmm. And globally, we're everywhere. So being the leader or the spokesperson of this organization has been a dream come true, because my grandfather was a Supreme President of AHEPA, and actually Judge Manos was his Supreme Counselor and Chairman at the convention.
Wow.
When he was elected. And I was born on that very day he was elected. Wow. And the story was written from then on. So I'm very honored to be serving as Supreme President of AHEPA. And it's been life-changing, I would have to say.
Oh, to say the least. I meant you've met with presidents. You met with Obama. You met with Big Joe. You got a chance to meet, the patriarch in Turkey. You got a chance to meet the Pope and talk with them as well. What is probably some of the most memorable things that you can share with us that you would have to say that is ingrained in your head, that in your mind, that you'll never forget?
You know, it's not all of those things, because I learned that everybody puts on their pants the same way, but it's the grassroots organization itself. I never understood what that meant, but to know that we have an AHEPA family of 25,000 stretched out through the United States, Canada, Europe, Greece, Cyprus, and to see it firsthand and get to meet people all over that global outlay has been phenomenal. It made me realize what an endeavor it was to build this over 100 years, and there's nothing else like it, and there never will be, not in multi-generations. This was a once-in-a-world phenomena that happened with these Greek immigrants starting to fight bigotry and then helping Greek immigrants assimilate into American life and become American citizens. And to the point now that it's our responsibility to use AHEPA as a tool to teach or help the world realize the ideals of ancient Greece, Hellenism. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's education, philanthropy, community service, family and individual excellence, and philotimo in general. So there's the grassroots, number one, and number two, the amount of respect the office of Supreme President holds. People would come up to me wherever I was and tell me a story of how AHEPA had helped their family, their life, and tears would well, and that was humbling.
And the thing is, when you think about how AHEPA really originated in Atlanta, Georgia, a lot of people don't even know that. And I think we talked about this with Basil Mercedes. It was to help protect us, because the Ku Klux Klan saw these good-looking, swarthy-looking guys, like me, and they wanted. What are you laughing at, Janice? So and what they did was, they were killing us, and to protect us and bring us all together in a group, they actually created this organization. But this organization is much more than just that. The educational aspect of scholarships and the scholarships alone for the students is unbelievable. How are we doing with that right now?
We're doing well. The stock market hasn't been doing well for the last several years. And so the funds that generate the interest for the scholarships has been less, but people respond. People always make sure that our future is funded. Our future scholars will be there. And education has always been huge to our ancestors. It's our job to continue that. And we do that by raising millions and giving it away every year through scholarships, not only for high school graduates, but for college graduates and graduate students, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. My daughter had a chance to continue on with a scholarship over that you had. I think it's a Journey to Greece, and it was wonderful. And she did such a great time, and it was put together with a local university in Athens. and they got a chance to see the ruins, and they got a chance to see certain things that other people wouldn't actually otherwise go to,
Right.
But the philanthropy that's involved also. Last summer, in July, we had the great fires in Greece. And while we were there at that convention, how much money within a 2 or 3 day period did you guys make?
Oh, probably about $100,000.
I think that's amazing.
We raised that, and that's been more than doubled. And we are now getting ready to announce the donation of a burn unit to the Evangelismos Hospital, which has an AHEPA wing in Athens, Greece. And that hospital treated all the burn victims from that fire. And so we thought it was best to honor them for the work that they did.
That's, simply amazing again. Now, you made an initiative, and we got probably about 30 seconds in this segment. Tell people how they can join AHEPA real quick, George.
Well, it's interesting. All you have to do is go to ahepa.org, and you can fill out an application and become a national member. Or if you're just not sure, you can sign up and receive emails until you decide to join. That gets you a national membership. You can download the application and mail in, for right now, a membership and choose actually a chapter near you, and you'd have all voting privileges.
George, I'm going to hold you there. We're going to be right back after these messages.
You got it.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
So glad you could join us on the Pinch of Basile. We've been having some fun and great information with my good friend George Loucas, the Supreme President of the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association. And we will be having indeed a big national convention. George, let them know about that convention coming up in July.
Sure. We are going to be gathering from, I think it's June 30th to July 7th or 6th. That week in Chicago, Illinois. We'll be celebrating Independence Day there. Come and join us. It's going to be a wonderful affair. You can get all the information you need on ahepa.org, including membership applications. If you want to join AHEPA as a daughter, a son, or a maid, we have 4 different auxiliaries. You can just log on to ahepa.org, download an application, and become a member.
That's simple. There you go. And George, before, because I interrupted you so abruptly when we were closing out on the third segment, give them that address one more time, that website address, if you would.
AHEPA.org, AHEPA.org, and you'll find everything you need right there.
Absolutely. And you just did some a trilateral relationship between B'nai B'rith, Greece, and the U.S.?
Yes, actually, that the geopolitical dynamic in the Eastern Mediterranean has become very important between Israel, Cyprus, and Greece, and the offshore drilling for gas. And they are the last vestiges of democracy in that area of the world. And considering how it's just a tough area right now. And so they have formed a partnership, and we have helped build a bridge for the U.S. to become involved in that trilateral relationship. And we went to Jerusalem with B'nai B'rith, who helped us found AHEPA in 1922 to fight bigotry. And it's wonderful to continue that relationship after 100 years with them, and especially to be involved for the last 10 years in Israel.
And what amazes me with that is the relationship, because you know how many banquets I've hosted for you. By the way, I will be at Chicago July 5th. I'm so excited because I get to have you on the dais with me, and we're right next to each other. And like I do with every president, we always pull some type of a prank that I always love doing with you. So if
I'm all in.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. Janice had a question that she wanted to ask, which I think was really a great question.
She did. Yeah. Janice.
Janice.
Okay.
Go ahead, Janice.
Well, basically, my question to you is, why would someone, how would they happen upon you? I mean, I'm a pretty old gal, and I am not aware of this organization until I met Basil. So how is it that people would happen on your organization, and what would intrigue them or make them want to join as not being a Greek?
Yeah, it's a great question. I always say if our members advertised 1/2 of the charitable things that we accomplish all the time, we would have twice as many members because we are the best kept secret. We do all sorts of philanthropy in various communities throughout the United States and the world. Everything from making sandwiches for the homeless, loading truckloads of milk for the kids in Flint, Michigan, to break down the lead in their blood and chelate it to help get it out of their bodies. We purchase dogs for warriors to help stem the suicide rate among soldiers. We're helping them find jobs. We help the elderly with housing all the way through the United States. And
how many homes do we have, George? I'm sorry to interrupt you. How many homes do we have right now?
It's over 90 throughout the United States. So the best thing to do is to locate, to go to AHEPA.org or keep an eye out in the community. If there is a Greek community, you will certainly find AHEPA and their auxiliaries, the daughters of Penelope, the sons of Pericles, the maids of Athena for the youth. And there will be a local group there to join or to go national. I wish we did have a national campaign to tell people about us, but you certainly do not have to be Greek. We had something called Philhellenes, people who come and are not Greek, and they join in, and it's the community service and volunteerism. And to ask you the benefit, you could take an idea locally because we have over 400 chapters worldwide. Then we have districts and national. You could have an idea, charitable idea, get it started at your local level, take it on a regional level, and then watch it go national and even international. So when the decision comes to give back to your community, in my humble opinion, there's no better vehicle than AHEPA to choose to give back to your community. It'll help you do that in many different ways.
Very, very well said. You know, Janice, when I tell you George is probably one of the humblest guys I know, but the organization as a whole, we really don't brag on what we do. We let people know that the service is there. I'm personally involved with the AHEPA Service Dogs for Warriors. And to be quite honest with you, I forced them to actually go ahead and say, listen, you got to let people know that we're buying all these different dogs. I forced them to put a last name. So if the dog is named Princess, it's Princess AHEPA. If it's named whatever the case is, they have a second name, AHEPA. Let people know about some of the philanthropy that we're involved in. And George, you've been actually so wonderful, as all the presidents have been, who you know are personal friends of mine. I love all the works that you guys do and go the extra mile. You actually take the opportunity to travel not only coast to coast here in the United States on your own dime, but you actually go ahead and do that when you're overseas and doing this for the good of all Hellenes and Philhellenes who basically want to find out more about us. If there are some questions, if there's anyone on Facebook that wants to ask a question, or call in at 844-790-8255, or text us. Again, Janice, what's that text number?
775-237-2266.
If you have a question for George, this is the time to do it, because you're not going to get anyone better than this as far as getting all your information. The housing that we have, and he went over that quick. There are over 90 housing apartments that we have for. These are huge apartment buildings for seniors.
If you go online, you can see all of that too.
Unbelievable. I mean, the things that you guys do and women do, the daughters of Penelope, just unbelievable. The daughters, the maids, the sons of Pericles, just a great organization. And these people, George, how old were you when you started with the AHEPA?
Oh, I was in about 20 or 21 years old when I started. So I'm in almost 40 years now.
Wow. And that's just phenomenal. That
Lisa would like to know if scholarships are available for graduate students.
Yes, they are available, and they can look for a local AHEPA chapter in their area. They can look for a district, and they can look for national. So if they go to the AHEPA website, ahepa.org, they will find a portal for scholarship giving. They'll be able to apply there. If they have further questions, they can call headquarters, and they'll get the information on applications.
Is there an actual 800 number to the headquarters, a number to get a hold of someone there? Or
that's a great question. I don't know.
Okay.
But, I'm not sure.
Okay, I think that's something that people need to know of, because I think it'd be great where people can call in real quick and ask a quick question for a hotline, a HEPA hotline.
Yes, there is. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's a TTY number. But the info at ahepahousing.org for the housing portion. So that might be helpful.
George, before we close up, are there any parting messages you'd like to tell my audience and a lot of the members who basically are AHEPA members, and those who are not AHEPA members, those who are like my fan base, that a combination of A to Z? Anything you want to tell them?
Sure. I would like to say to the AHEPA members who are all over the place, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you do for your communities. The volunteerism is just, I'm just grateful to be a part of that. And without you, we don't have this great organization. And to those who are not involved, look us up and find somebody in your area to talk to and learn more about us. I'm sure that anybody near you would be willing to get you a cup of coffee and sit down and talk. And the camaraderie, I'm sure, would be fulfilling for you in your life.
George, I got to tell you, man. But by the way, how's the family doing?
We're doing great. Thank you. We have graduation right now for our son. So we're totally busy. And I'm finishing up this year. So we just finished a 4-country stint. And so it's, between that and depositions, it's life in its own self. So it's all good here.
Well, listen, man, you have been a joy to be with. I will give you a call in the next couple of days if you'll take my call, for God's sake.
I would love to.
Listen, George, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on A Pinch of Basile. Thank you so much, my friend. Give everyone my love, and we'll talk to you soon. And and for the reminder, don't forget to listen every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 New York City time. That's Eastern Standard Time. We can be heard all around the world on americamatters.us. TuneIn app. On the TuneIn app, you just go search America Matters and be sure to keep us on as one of your favorites. Questions, comments, go to Basile Fans on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or give me a call at 844-790-8255. Thanks so much.
Thanks to
everyone. We'll see you soon on A Pinch of Basile. Thanks, George.